Hey y'all, welcome back to Realizations. Today I want to talk about something that has been brought to my attention many times throughout my life. Nothing has ever just been easy for me. Nothing has ever just been handed to me. Everything that I've gone through in my life has up until now really been surrounded by a lot of negative impact. I've been around a lot of really traumatic humans, traumatic experiences, and because of the way I handle myself and because of how I get through things and how I present myself to the world, a lot of times people think I don't really go through anything. And a lot of people have this notion about me that is not true. I'm not going to get into all of the things I've been through today because that's a lot. And that's not the point of this whole episode of Realizations today. The point of this episode is to talk about how every situation, everything is truly what we make it. It is truly our attitude, our actions. It is how we handle it, how we learn through it, what we do with what we learn, how we respond to what we're going through. In my life, I have seen a lot of people confuse love and control. I have seen a lot of people confuse safety and control. I think the majority of the world does not see how often they try to control others. They try to control situations, outcomes, experiences. They want it to be what they think it should be. And they don't leave any room for anything else. So then when it does not go the way that they want it to, they can't handle it. All they see is what they didn't get. All they see is the negative. All they see are the issues. This hamster wheel that just keeps on spinning. Somebody doesn't behave as they think they should be. I've seen so much of it, and I truly think that it is where so many problems lie. Not only do they lie in our relationships with others, because to truly love somebody, you cannot want to force them into behaving as you want them to. That is not loving someone as they are. That is loving someone as you think they could be. That is having an idea of who you believe somebody is or should be or could be, and you love that version of them. That exists in your mind, in your world. That doesn't always equate to reality. When we love somebody exactly as they are, we love them exactly as they are. That means all their faults, all their lessons, all their hard times, all of it. We love them through everything. And I think we confuse love a lot. Just because we love somebody does not mean we have to agree. It does not mean that we have to be okay with the choices that they are making. We can take space. We can do our own thing. We can whatever we need to when somebody else needs space. I feel like I'm wandering a little bit because I have so many different things that I think of right now when I say these things that I want to pull from all of them, but I need to stay focused. I'm working on this. So I don't want to get too off track here, but I could talk about this forever in so many different ways. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to talk about what I did to change the way that I used to be with this. I used to be somebody who thought that loving somebody so intense, like so deeply, meant helping them see the version of themselves that I saw. I thought it meant loving them through everything, being that ride or die, like whatever. But a lot of times they hurt me in the choices they make, and they don't give me the same love back. They don't build with me or respect me or love me deeply the way that I need. So why is it that I need to be ride or die for somebody that isn't ride or die for me? And they could say that they are, but yet they still cheat, lie, all kinds of different things. That isn't love to me. But I didn't want to hate them, and I didn't want things that happened with us to make me bitter or to make me resentful or to make me mean. So every time a relationship for me has ended, it obviously ended because something wasn't aligning between the two of us, no matter what that was. Every relationship that I have ever been in has had its own thing. Even with friendships, even with every kind of ship there is out there, okay? I never wanted the love I had for somebody to turn into hate. It did a lot because I was angry at them and I was hurt. I was very hurt. That's always what it was. I was hurt by them, by working relationships, by friendships, by dating relationships, all of it. I was hurt. And when I was hurt, I didn't handle my hurts very well. And when they behaved in a way that I didn't think was them, it hurt me. When they showed me other sides of themselves that weren't their best sides, it hurt me. But then I started getting really honest with myself. And something crazy happened when I did that. I wasn't expecting it at all. I did not see this coming. And that was when I got really honest with myself. I understood nobody could be honest with me the way that I desired because I could not handle that honesty. If somebody said to me that I was making them feel a certain way, I couldn't handle that. I would want to be defensive. I would want to protect myself. I would go into survival mode, and I would want to tell them why I was doing what I was doing. I would want to tell them what they did to make me respond that way. I would want to bring up all these past things, and that isn't healthy. I could not handle the truth that I desired. So I was not getting the truth that I desired. It wasn't until I realized that I was getting the truth, or I was at a place where I could handle the truth. I had done the work and I had made it clear, and then I still didn't get the truth. But I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't any of those things. My boundary was in place and it was firm, and I knew what I deserved and what I required and what I give, and I wanted to match that. And I understood, if you aren't able to match me, if you aren't able to give me that honesty, if you aren't able to give yourself that honesty, you won't be able to give it to me. And I held my boundaries, and I put myself first, and I walked away. I walked away from anything where that wasn't present, because I knew that's what I wanted. That was one of my deepest desires. And if I kept space for somebody who couldn't be honest with me, then I was essentially giving away a seat at my table to my life to somebody who I knew shouldn't be sitting there. It's not that they can never sit there. It's that they aren't ready. They have things to do. And that led me to a whole nother path that I wasn't expecting to find. And that is that when we try to force ourselves together, we hold each other back. We hold ourselves back. We hold everyone around us back. We can't possibly know what is supposed to happen in that separation. We can't. That is a future thing. That is all of these other pieces that align. That is something greater than us. That is the journey, okay? But if I am so afraid of what happens if I set you free, that I hold you here when I know you're not aligning, I'm not aligning, we aren't aligning. I'm holding you from all of these lessons that you are also craving to learn. And I can't learn my lessons that I'm craving to learn because they don't show up in places that aren't jiving. They don't show up in places of unalignment the way that we want them to. Those lessons show up and they hurt because they force us apart. They force bad things to happen so that we will finally allow them to move. I have resisted, y'all, resisted so many lessons in my life. And I started understanding for the first time in my life my resistance to the lesson is what makes the lesson harder. When I walk away because I value my peace over all else, and I just say, hey, this isn't aligning. This makes me feel XYZ. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel exciting, exhilarating, any of the things that I'm looking for. It's not challenging in a way that is new. It is challenging in a way that burns me out. I know this lesson all too well. I'm repeating lessons that burn me out. It's not you. It's not me. It's just life. We need to go our separate ways so that we can find whatever it is we're looking for. And if we are meant to come back together, we always do. And if we don't, we weren't supposed to go any further. And that's okay. When I think of you, I can still think of you with love. I can think of all the fun, good times, all the things that broke me out of my comfort zone, that taught me something, that showed me a repeat, that advanced me. I am so grateful for all of that, for everyone that I have ever loved, that I have laughed with, that I have learned with and learned from. Every lesson has been valuable to me. And that is why, although I have such traumatic stories in my past, I'm able to keep a very good outlook on everything because I know if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't have. And it did. And it doesn't matter if I think something somewhere messed up, or if I would have chose something different, something else would have happened, or I could have prevented this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything that I think about it. I'm wasting my time. I am wasting my energy. I went through this for years when I was in a loss so deep. I was just stuck in my grief, and I yelled at at life, at the universe. I yelled at everything that I could yell at, and I thought somebody messed up. Somebody fell asleep on the job, and I honestly thought if I could resist the knowledge that this truly happened, I would wake up and it would not exist any longer. Something would change, something crazy would happen, and he would be alive again, and it would just happen. And for 4 years, I was scared to move forward because I thought if I moved forward, then it would never happen. I was truly hoping for life to reverse death. And it didn't ever happen. And it wasn't until I started sitting outside and I started connecting with the universe, and instead of throwing my tantrum or being angry and holding a grudge, I started saying, thank you for still allowing me to sit outside and feel connected to him. Thank you for still letting me feel like he's here. Thank you for all the dreams where he was there. Thank you for all the times I could smell him or feel him in the room. Thank you for the times I found little signs that he was here, that he was still here. Thank you for giving me this beautiful space to still feel close with him. And thank you for not giving up on me when I wanted to give up on myself. I changed all of my anger, all of my sadness, my depression, my grief. I found ways to funnel it into gratitude. And that's hard because some lessons, some lessons are a lot harder to find reasons to be grateful. I know I have a lot of them. But that's the thing, is I ask myself, what does my anger serve me? What does this grief give me? And the one answer that I've always found that really helps me is that I'm not the first and I'm not the last. I'm not the first person to lose somebody that they love. And I'm certainly not the last. I'm not the first person who struggles with hearing loss. I'm not the first person who almost died. I'm not the first person to go through the hardships of being an entrepreneur or moving to a different state or living where you know nobody from your past. I'm not the first person to go through any of these things, and I am not the last. So if I can find gratitude in these really hard spaces, then I can find connection with others. I was just watching something, and I watched a woman talk about losing all of her money and how they don't have any money, and they're at a spot in their life where they are able to just go out and make more money. And she said, if I don't wake up tomorrow, I would feel relief, because she's so buried by her financial worries. I know that all the way through. We are not the first and we are not the last. Which means we are not alone, which means there is a lot of work, a lot of balance to be done in these areas. I try to be what I need, what I needed in those really hard times when I couldn't find what I needed. And honestly, the thing that has changed my life the most, the reason no matter what I go through, I'm always able to come back to this centered peace, is my mindset. It's the way I make myself slow down. It's the way I acknowledge when my thoughts are spinning and my thoughts want to take me off the deep end, and they want to focus in on the hurt and the hard and all of the things that feel like they could drown me. And what that is to me is, I always think about it like if I was in the middle of the ocean and there's nothing you can do but try to stay alive. And the more you focus on how hard it is to stay alive, the harder it is to stay alive. But the more you allow yourself to float, you allow yourself to keep moving when you can and rest when you can. And when you get pulled under, you don't fight, you don't freak, you don't anything. You just float. You let it take you where it needs to take you, and you see everything you can, and you're grateful and you're peaceful and you're calm. And if something is not making me feel like I am able to be peaceful, I need to ask why I'm keeping it in my life. That's everything. That's people, that's worry, it's fear, it's all of it. When I was worrying so hard about money and I didn't know how I was going to make it or where I was going to live or what I was going to do, it didn't start changing until I said, I don't know, but we're going to find our way. And I just one foot in front of the other. Not all days were easy. Some days I got hit with 4 more bills, or somebody showing up at the door threatening, I can't talk, trying to threaten me. I'm trying to say this like 3 different ways, trying to threaten me, trying to anything. And I just had to let it be. I just had to let it be. And that was scary. It was. But what was my worry getting me? Was it getting me more money? No. Was it paying my bills? No. It was giving me stress. It wasn't giving me better ideas. It was trying to force me into situations that weren't beneficial and weren't going to take me anywhere. So I focused in on how it felt to feel that way, because I'm not the first and I'm not the last. And if I feel this way, others do. And if I could find my way to peace, I could help others find their way to peace. And if I could find my way to peace, and if peace led me out of it, And peace is what took me to these unique situations where I didn't feel like I was drowning so hard anymore. It gave me a life raft. I could help other people find their unique life raft. I could help them find their way to these peaceful alternatives that they never ever knew existed. And once you start to understand deeply and you connect your soul with just how much letting peace lead you to the real parts of your life that you crave and you desire so deeply, those places that you thought, oh, that's a dream, but I don't think I could ever actually get there because you couldn't mentally find a path that would take you there. Or it seemed like, oh, I have to win the lottery. Something crazy has to happen in order for that to happen. There's a million different ways to get to the same place. But we only allow ourselves to see one. We control the situations in our life. When we try to control others, when we try to control our experience, when we try to control our journey, we get resistance. Control is resistance. It truly, truly is. Breaking up with trying to control my life has single-handedly made all of my relationships richer. It has made all of my experiences brighter. It has made all of my lessons make more sense, and they advance me faster. They're still big, they're still crazy, they're still traumatic, they still take a lot of work. But I don't feel like, oh man, I'm getting stuck out in the middle of the ocean again. I feel like, all right, I'm going to get knocked off my paddleboard and I might lose my paddle and have to use my hands to get back. It doesn't seem so crazy, so scary, so overwhelming. Now, if I focused on losing my paddle, I'd probably lose the whole board. And then I'd be back out in the middle of the ocean, just me. It's all about what we do with it. It's all about our mindset. It's all about finding our way back to peace. It's letting people go from our lives when it's not serving us and these lessons don't feel good anymore. It's holding yourself to your own standard and making sure that the people that are in your world are the right energy around you. It's tough to hold this vibe consistently. It's tough, y'all. It takes every day. And it's not just like, oh, I wake up and I decide this is who I am today. No, all day long we are tested. All day long we have to choose peace every time. Even sometimes nothing happens. It's just the way our brain is made up, the way we've been running for years. We start to slip back into our old coping mechanisms, into our old ways. And sometimes it feels like no matter what we do, we cannot stop it from happening. But we don't fight, we don't resist. We take those moments to be softer with ourselves. We don't jump into anything into those moments, I have learned. Those are the days meant for self-reflection, journaling, writing whatever it is out that you need, doing some yoga, going for walks, doing things that make you feel good, cleaning up your space, things that make you feel decluttered, that make you feel safe with yourself. When we involve everyone else, we get other people, we go backwards. That is where we start to slide. That is where we start to feel more of this. We are feeding that hard moment. But when we learn to sit in our discomfort, when we learn to let it ride and see where it takes us, we become a new version of ourselves. We find a new version of ourselves. We find new coping mechanisms. We reroute our old ways of thinking and doing. And now, when things get hard, we don't slide so much. Now we know we're looking for our own internal peace. So we sit, we take care of ourselves, and we breathe, and we find gratitude. And until we can feel that peace, we just work on finding it. That has changed my entire life. And I am not kidding. It has made everything in my life so much more peaceful, so much more worthwhile. And I enjoy my days every day. I can have traumatic things happen. Life can life. And I know I can ride the waves. Most days, I don't even lose my paddle. I don't even get knocked off my board anymore. Because I worked really, really hard to sit all by myself and feel peace. Despite what is going on, I find my peace, and you can too. We're not the first, we're not the last. We all have our own unique story filled with our own unique traumas and hardships and things that we need to go through and unlearn and relearn. And what we do with that is everything. It's why I make this podcast. That's why I coach. It is why I write. It is why I have random conversations with strangers. It is why I do everything I do. Because I want people to be able to come home to themselves. And I want people to be able to feel peaceful and light and good and excited to be here. The next time you're having a hard moment, the next time you find your brain wanting to get stuck in that loop, the next time you find yourself in a room that you don't want to be in, with people you don't want to be around, doing things you don't want to do, go home. Ask yourself, why am I here? Why is this what I'm choosing? Why is this who I'm showing up as? What do I really, truly desire? What happens if I get it? What happens if I become that version of myself? What happens if I don't make moves that aren't in peace anymore? What happens if I move from a place of peace and find it? Start to work on your peace. Find your peace. It changes your whole life. And if you need me, let's book a sesh. Let's do something. Let's shake your life up, y'all, because life isn't meant to be something we get through. Life is supposed to be something we love living. Let's love living these lives.